Okay, it is 6:30. We'll call the Monday, February 10th, 2025 City and Mayor City Council meeting to order. And if you could please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So just real quick, anyone who's live streaming or watches this in the future, I just want to apologize. Our AV equipment was down for the last couple months, so we apologize for that, and we just had some technical difficulties with it. We're good to go, and thank you for watching. So with that, I'll look for a motion or do we have any additions to the agenda?
I have no additions tonight, Mayor.
No additions. I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries 4-0. With that, we will move to public comments. If there's anyone who would like to discuss anything that is not on the agenda, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close public comments and move to consent. Is there anything on the consent agenda that needs to be pulled for further discussion?
Mayor, one item that doesn't need to be pulled for additional comment. In the register, we have a couple of items under the credit card expenses. Three of the items in there, one for some conference attendance as well as some hotel registration, was accidentally line item to office equipment or office expenses, and it'll get redirected and to its proper place for training and instruction. So just FYI on that.
Perfect, thank you. So with that, I'll look for a motion to approve the consent agenda with the change for coding the proper, those three proper items.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion, and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Motion carries 4-0. So that will take us to business items. Number 10, consider approval to purchase bucket broom and brush cutter for Public Works.
All right, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, staff is proposing the purchase of a new Vernon bucket broom and a new Vernon brush cutter attachments in the amount of $13,773. The bucket broom will give staff the ability to clean, collect debris from parking lots, park trails, city streets, etc. The bucket broom will also be equipped with a gutter brush, which will be beneficial in sweeping curb lines and alongside buildings. Total cost of the bucket broom comes in at $7,581. Staff has rented a piece of equipment like this in the past and believes it'll be very beneficial to add to our fleet. A big driving component behind this is you see a lot of seal coat rock in the gutters and everywhere. Yeah, it's pretty, and it's typical. Talk to other cities about it.
It is.
Yeah.
It just seems
So-
like more this year.
Yep. So we kind of get ahead of it, kind of clean up our storm drains and everything prior to the street sweepers coming into town. We can hit it sooner, mid-season, that sort of thing. Not a full replacement as a street sweeper. It'll just kind of get us by to, touch up areas. Moving on, the city currently owns a brush cutter attachment, which was purchased in 2018 due to wear and tear over the years. Staff believes it's a good time to trade off the brush cutter and get one that is better suited for our needs. The cost of a new brush cutter is $10,192. The trade-in value of the city's old brush cutter comes in at $4,000. Total cost of the new brush cutter after trade-in is $61.92. The new brush cutter is wider, better equipped to handle taller grass and small trees. The other brush cutter motors are wearing out. It's not working as efficiently as it used to. Things are going to need to get replaced on it. Funding, Nick can probably take over, but 435 fund.
Yeah, funding for this will come out of the 435 fund, which is designated for general capital expenditures. Currently has $218,113 available after the last financial update here for balance of purchases. The long-term future for the CIP is looking very healthy. So this would not have an adverse impact on the fund balance.
Perfect.
And you want to talk Public Works Committee?
Yeah, this came to Public Works. We had discussed it. Public Works is recommending approval for both. We think both pieces will be very beneficial. There's a lot of talk about we're nowhere ready to get a street sweeper, but it'd be nice to have one, obviously. But just doing it twice a year. So we thought this would be a great interim and a great piece to have for spot checking, doing things as needed. So Public Works has recommended approval of both.
Out of curiosity, what's a street sweeper cost? And would we purchase a new or used, you'd think? If the time would come.
Brand new street sweeper.
Well over 100,000.
Thinking over 100.
I'm thinking
Well over 100,000. Used, it gets pretty dicey because they're kind of
Right.
a maintenance.
Hit or miss.
Yeah.
I
A
think,
lot of moving parts on a street sweeper.
I was just curious.
I think these days, brand new is probably talking 200 for a
Could be.
street
I know
Wow.
Watertown just purchased one. It's more of a truck style.
Yeah.
And yeah, back
Wow.
it up it.
And then just doing it spring and fall, the return on investment
Yeah,
would have
no.
been so far out that, but this will be good to, if there's some construction going on, they can get out there and do it. Or like you said, the rocks have been pretty bad this year from the chip seal.
Yeah, like
More
they,
so,
they're all over my driveway and now
Oh, yeah.
are in my yard
yeah.
In the
from
garage.
the.
Yard. Yep. Yard, driveways, garages.
Just don't remember it being that bad. Maybe.
So
All right, I was just
it is.
curious.
So with that, then, any other questions for either Public Works Supervisor or City Administrator?
No.
So we'll start first then with the bucket broom. I'll look for a motion to approve the purchase of the bucket broom from Lano for $7,581.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Then we will move to the brush cutter to accept the bid from Lano for the brush cutter in the amount of $6,192 with the appropriate trade-ins.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Kyle.
Very welcome.
So with that, then, Nick, we can move to the quote to replace exterior doors at the community center and exterior doors at the wastewater treatment facility.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll turn it over to Kyle to introduce
Oh,
on the wastewater treatment facility end of
Sorry,
things.
thank you, Kyle.
Sorry, I didn't read the. So pictures kind of speak for themselves. This is on administration building out at the wastewater treatment plant. Original doors from when I believe that building went up in 98 or 04. I think it's the older portion of it. Significant water damage and significant rust at the bottom. So it's definitely time to replace them.
Looks like that one's missing a handle too.
Yeah, I kind of, does need a new handle. We actually robbed, that was the primary door and we stole the one from that door and put it on the primary door and that, yeah, it kind of fell off the one ice event we had a couple months back.
So
So,
you're saying it's time.
yep. So, yeah, looking for, it'd be us, we would purchase them at cost through Voss Construction. We would get them, we would paint them and we would hang these doors.
Oh, so the frame's fine?
The frame and everything's fine. It's the door specifically, and we got to match it to the door jams.
Okay.
It's cheaper to do that. So doors and door jams and everything look fine. It was these is just for the doors.
So you guys will actually replace them, or
Correct. We will install these 3 and paint them.
Okay.
And I think that was broken down in the cost, if I remember right.
It was.
Yep.
Door number 2 was $3,700 and door number 3 was $1,600 for replacement.
Because we got to replace the double doors together. So
Perfect. Nick, anything to add?
And then on the community center end of things, this is the door by the back door for the kitchen. Pretty sure it's original to the building. We have the jams rusting out on this one, as you can see on the right there, and then the door itself is just getting rusted out as well. So we're looking for replacement of that. That one, we're going to have Voss do the install on since the jam's involved. And that one's at $6,600.
the jams involved, and there's also potential it could be concreted in, which can also be a significant expense to kind of get the old one out and get a new one in. So,
Mhm.
and it also has the same push style handle. I know they're a little bit pricier too. The bar, they call it a certain
Push bar.
handicap push bar.
Yep. For emergency access, what have you.
Correct.
Yes. Goofy.
And for just a shout out to our public works crew for some of the other exterior doors. They've been doing some re-weatherization of those doors as well. So we had gaps and what have you. So thanks to them for doing that work.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, hopefully a Band-Aid will work for a while, and let's just keep an eye on the ones that are coming up and other doors in here and get them, plan ahead for them. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mhm.
Right.
All right, if there's no other questions, I'll look for a motion to approve the quote from Voss Constructions in the amount of $11,900 to replace 2 doors at the wastewater treatment facility and 1 door at the community center.
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. And with that, we will move to consider action to adopt resolution approving submission of grant application to the Carver County CDA Community Growth Partnership Initiative Grant Program.
Thank you, Mayor. So we've had on and off discussions at Planning Commission, also at the City Council level, about doing an overhaul of our city's zoning code in its entirety. It's been piecemealed together over the last 15 or so years. Not the worst way to do it, but every once in a while you want to have that good code refresh update. Zoning code is probably one of the most integral codes as part of our city code. It deals a lot with land use, subdivision, how things are planned out in the city and the growth and development of it. Every 10 years, we do our comprehensive plan. So it haven't been 20 years since a good update on zoning. Looking to do that overhaul. John Anderson, our city planner, I've asked him to put together a quote to do the work. He figures it's going to take, excuse me, a total of 225 hours. 205 of that would be general hours for doing the work, and then 20 hours for travel. At his current contract rate, when you aggregate that all together, it comes to $24,875. Where the CDA grant comes into play is Carver County's CDA. They offer the Community Growth Partnership Initiative Program, which has a pre-development and a development portion to their grant. The pre-development portion specifically, with what they offer, deals with engineering studies, plans, specifications, and then also general types of studies. In there in the grant, it does specify zoning studies, which a zoning update, review, and revision is part of what they do. I think it was last 2023 or 2022, City of Chaska got one to update their zoning code as part of that. So when we look at the total cost of that, the CDA grant provides up to $10,000 in grants if we're successful with an application on a one-to-one match basis. It is a competitive grant. The deadline for that, it's on an annual basis. This year, it's February 28th. It's coming up here in short order. So proposing to submit a grant application to that. As part of that, we do need to adopt a resolution that authorizes that. But if we want to have any discussion about whether we want to take the dive into the zoning code update itself, that ties in with our discussions with the grant application as well.
Thank you. Any comments? Anyone want to discuss any of it? I'd like to make sure we're somewhat aligned so we're not throwing grant applications in and then have it come back and fail. And, it just doesn't look good from the Carver County standpoint. So any kind of discussion anyone would like to have on rezoning or looking at our zoning?
Well, I mean, I think one instance is the parking requirement for new businesses. We've had to give variances for pretty much every single new development or business that's come in. So I think that's one. It was just like pretty eye-opening that why are we keep giving variances when maybe that's off? And if they haven't been looked at for a really long time, I think it's important to invest some time and energy so that, it makes sense and we're not creating variances and more work to create those variances and allowing for businesses to actually be and residents be productive here.
It's quite a bit of money, of course, but the zoning code being what it is and how integral it is to land use decisions within the city, every so often you do need to give it an overhaul. Because otherwise, the code just gets older and older and older. It's not keeping up with either best practices or legal compliance standards of things. So that's a lot of money, but I think after 15 years, it's probably due.
Right.
to have the overhaul, especially since when you think 15, 20 years ago, how big Mayor was at the time when a lot of that came online. Now it's had some updates throughout the years, but 15, 20 years ago, we were a fifth of the size.
Yeah, much different place than we are. Any other comments?
The thing is, we're still gonna have parking variances if we include anything on down.
Well,
I'm just
for
saying on
historic.
downtown,
For historic, we would.
right, no matter what. But I think we do need to address the new buildings.
But I think in the zoning code, you could write in provisions for the C2 district. These are the specific off-street parking we're looking at if you're in the C1 or other. These are your off-street parking requirements.
True.
So you just get more specific in the ordinance.
Right.
Now that we kind of have a better idea of where things are. I think there's a lot of other ordinances that need to be reviewed
Yeah.
that are outdated.
I would agree.
A lot of the other ones we should be able to do in-house, I'm hoping.
Yes.
Versus something like this. This is kind of a unique situation.
And would this happen if we, let's say we get the grant, this would happen this year? Or like, how long does this take?
So the proposal that was in the packet from John, he has it starting March 4th. It won't be that soon.
I'm sorry, I didn't read that.
But if you look at his proposed schedule from March 4th to the end of the year, so you're talking a 9-month run. Working a lot with planning commission with it. When it comes to zoning, you're gonna be having public hearings in there as well as you make these changes, getting input and what have you.
Right. Any other comments? And I echo both Nikki and Nick on what they said. I think we're at that point now where development is starting. We do need to take a look at these. We know a lot of the stuff, which isn't unusual. We pull from the league or pull from other communities and adopt them in, which is fine. But now that we're getting to a certain point, I think this is warranted. It's a lot of money, but if we can get 10 grand out of it, I feel much better at 14.
Right.
Obviously than 24. So, but
Yeah.
to Nikki's point, this is needed now where we just shouldn't be given variances. And I think they're a little outdated on some of the things.
The zoning code is probably the one ordinance section where I would farm it out to an expert to write.
Yeah, I would agree. And that aligns what we've done with all our plan, all that does get farmed out to John and their companies. So I think it's warranted. So if no other comments, then I'll look for a motion to approve resolution 2025, approving submission of grant application of the Carver County CDA Community Growth Partnership Initiative Grant Program for the amount of $10,000.
Motion.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. With that, we'll move to council reports. Councilmember Halt, anything to report on?
I had a planning commission meeting, a possible new business interest in mayor, so hopefully that catches some traction.
Good. All right, Councilmember Fausch, anything to report on?
I did an EDA meeting a week ago, whenever. We just finalized the grant revisions, and I think they're sent out, yeah,
I just
for the
emailed those out this morning, actually.
businesses. Okay. And then I don't know if this matters, but I was at the League of Minnesota Cities training this weekend. Learned a lot.
For newly elected officials?
Yes,
Good.
Yep.
Good. You find it beneficial?
I did. It was interesting. I learned a lot.
A lot of information, right?
Yes.
A lot of good information. Good.
Yep.
I'm glad you could attend.
More than you even think.
I think it's
Yeah,
important.
there are definitely things I didn't know.
Good. Thank you for attending that. Councilmember McNeil, anything to report on?
Just had the EDA and we adjusted the application dates. So it's earlier in the year to allow for business actually to get them done in this year and maybe over the summer. So
Wonderful. And I did not have a meeting since our last, but I forgot to mention at the last city council meeting that we did have a personnel committee meeting, and we're starting to take a deep dive into fire department salaries for officers and all the members. And again, I apologize for forgetting about that last time. So we'll keep you updated as we move on. We're going to be setting up kind of routine meetings with the personnel committee, and then we'll come with our recommendation. So with that, I'll look for motion to adjourn.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion from
Motion,
Hal,
Chad.
a second from Fausch. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you for coming in. Feel free to reach out to any council member with questions.
Okay.